It's 2:06 on Talk Radio 790 KABC. You're listening to The John Phillips Show. Johnny's on vacation. So it's Randy Wang here broadcasting live from the Morongo Casino Resort and Spa Living Room Studio. The phone number is 800-222-KABC, and it's been used a whole lot today because we've been taking marathon phone calls on the LA City Council's latest vote. The city council voted unanimously to investigate if the governor of Texas is a kidnapper and a human trafficker for sending now 11 busloads of migrants from the border to the city of Los Angeles. Your thoughts on this whole mess? 800-222-KABC. We'll take calls for a few more minutes and then we'll move on. And coming up later this hour, giving away another Vegas package, so stay tuned for that. Let's start with Joe in San Pedro. Joe, you're on the John Phillips Show. Hello.
Good afternoon, Randy, and thank you for taking my call. I believe the LA City Council is upset because maybe they ran out of tote bags that they've been handing out to all the immigrants getting off the buses. You know, they treat these guys and they treat these people like they're getting off the shuttle bus going into their vacation cruise or something. They've handed out, cell phones. They give them everything they want. Then they wonder why people keep coming here, want to come here.
I mean, we're the place with all the services and the free health care and everything else. I mean, if you're going to send them somewhere, of course, send them here. Right.
They didn't want Trump. I asked my friends that are Democrats, unfortunately, what they don't like about him. They don't have an answer. They just say, I don't like him. Well, this wouldn't have happened if you had somebody else in office, I think. But regarding L.A. City, they're barking up the wrong tree. That's the bottom line.
Joe, thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. Let's go to, I'm sure I'm going to screw this up. Safi in Woodland Hills. You're on the John Phillips Show. Hello.
Hey. So he's transporting people across state borders, promising them a better future. Isn't that a definition of a coyote?
Well, he's not getting paid for it, so I don't know.
Well, he's getting votes from his base. That's translated to money also.
Okay, so you would say that this is human trafficking.
Exactly. In other words.
All righty, Safi. Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. Hey, this day should take opinions from all sides of the political spectrum. The people on the right, the people on the left, and the people in the middle, which is the vast majority of people. Let's go to Ron in Pacific Palisades. Ron, you're on the John Phillips Show. Hello. Ron. Ron going once. Ron, are you on mute? Ron, are you in a dead zone? Ron, go bye-bye. All right. I think it's time to move on, everyone. Thank you so much for all the phone calls. I haven't even had a chance to go through all the emails. Some things are real difficult to do when you're here by yourself. But that was a heck of a lot of phone calls, and we really appreciate it. Now, moving on, I got a story for you. It involves a woman who found out her debit card was stolen while she was helping bail someone out of jail. And her adventure to try to figure out who stole her credit card is pretty fascinating. For more, here's Fox 11.
If it was a scripted drama like Law & Order, you might say this could never happen. But this is real life. Meet Lena Ritz. She did what the LAPD wouldn't do. That is until they saw the evidence she gathered. And wait until you hear who the suspect is.
I was fired up because I don't like injustice.
Lena Ritz's troubles started on July 16th, although she wouldn't know the extent of them until later. On that Sunday, she went to the LAPD detention center in downtown LA to bail out a relative on an unrelated charge.
Oh, I want to know what the relative did. Little drinking and driving, maybe? Getting him out of the drunk tank? Just imagining.
A couple of days later, she was going through this phone case where she keeps her credit cards when she noticed something wrong. Her debit card was missing. She discovered someone was using her debit card to buy expensive items. She went into overdrive.
So I logged on to my online bank account and I noticed a very large transaction at a furniture store. And I thought, this is very weird.
Lena called.
What, someone stole her card to buy a couch?
And I thought...
I mean, it's better than Bitcoin, I guess.
And I thought, this is very weird.
Lena called her bank customer service representative over and over again. But she says she got no assurances that Citibank would cover her losses or even investigate. In fact, they pointed an accusatory finger at her, saying that she must have made the charges because a debit card requires a PIN.
Wait a second. So they're accusing the woman who calls the bank repeatedly saying, my debit card was stolen, somebody is using my debit card, and their response is, no, we don't believe you. That is some customer service. This is, by the way, stories like this are why you need the local news. Because sometimes certain companies and banks are super guilty of this. It's like the airlines. None of them are particularly great. And so they outcompete each other with who has the worst customer service. But they're not going to help this woman when she says, my card was stolen? All right, I got to know more. So Citibank won't help her. Where does she turn next?
Saying that she must.
And meanwhile, they haven't even locked the card, so the guy's still using it.
Saying that she must have made the charges because a debit card requires a PIN. They referred her to local police. Lena says she tried reaching the LAPD a dozen times. Again, no interest in helping her.
When the
The LAPD won't help a woman that says her debit card got stolen? I know your guys are overstressed and overworked and don't have the numbers, but just at least humor her with an investigation.
When the detectives wouldn't do anything, I thought to myself, where do I go from here?
So Lena turned relentless investigator. She went to every store where her card...
This is our own Batman, Batgirl, if you will. Because Batman, world's greatest detective. This girl realized she's got to take the law into her own hands if the bank won't help her find out who stole her debit card, and the LAPD won't help her find out who stole her debit card. She's going to track him down herself. Vigilante justice. Here we go.
Where do I go from here?
So Lena turned relentless investigator. She went to every store where her card was used. She tracked down receipts with dates and times. She begged, cajoled, and convinced some of the stores to give her the security video of her card being used by the suspect.
Home Depot was very helpful. They sent me clips of him using it, and I asked for it to be time-stamped.
Good to know. All you thieves out there, if you're using someone's stolen card at Home Depot, they will cooperate with the victim. So maybe if you're walking around with a stolen card, go somewhere else.
Home Depot was very helpful. They sent me clips of him using it, and I asked for it to be time-stamped. There's a security team at IKEA, and they've got great...
Wait a second. Whoever this jackass is that stole her debit card decided, all right, I'm going to really live large. I need to get me a Hemnest dresser drawer that I have to build myself. Did he also use the debit card at IKEA to get the 50-cent hot dog? Maybe some Swedish meatballs with some lingonberries? I am not knocking IKEA. I own a bunch of IKEA furniture. It's just real funny to me that that's the thing that somebody uses with a stolen debit card. Maybe that just wouldn't look suspicious.
Security team at IKEA, and they've got great cameras that followed the man around and saw him not only using my card.
Weeks had passed.
Yeah, you know what? Because the IKEAs are built like labyrinths, they probably have a camera angle of every place this guy went. You could follow him around the entire store and get a real clear picture of this guy walking around using a stolen debit card to get some lac shelves. I love IKEA.
Thousands of dollars.
Although if you know what you're doing, what you do is you find out online what bin is the thing that you need to buy, and you go in through the exit and just go straight to the warehouse. Because you know what you're going to get. You don't need to get lost in the showroom.
Thousands of dollars had been charged to her missing card, and no break. But then Lena enlarged the suspect photo, And finally,
it's like CSI, enhance the picture, except she's just on her phone using her two fingers to stretch it out.
And finally, it hit her like a ton of bricks. Remember when we told you she had to go downtown to bail out a relative? The suspect, the guy on the store surveillance video, looked exactly like the friendly cop who handled her intake that emotional day at the detention center.
Wait a second. You're telling me that the people who run the jails might be crooked? No, there's no way.
I put it together and I said, this actually looks a lot like...
If the intake guy does this to her, how many balloons does he own and how has he used them?
I put it together and I said, this actually looks a lot like the police officer that took my stuff through security that I met at the Metropolitan Detention Center.
Not only did Lena have photos of the suspect, Officer Edmund Bababians, she had a photo of the suspect.
Wait, what is his name?
Officer Edmund Bababians.
Bababian.
She had a photo of the suspect's car and a partial plate. Suddenly.
By the way, the LAPD should hire this woman. She's fantastic. She is Batman.
The LAPD was urgently calling her.
Gosh, I remember the moment that they confirmed that it was him. I was a mix of emotions, to be honest.
Oh, they finally called her back when she said, hey, the guy who robbed me works in your jail.
I was a mix of emotions, to be honest. A part of me felt elated, also relieved, because I thought that meant, okay, I'm getting my money back and justice is going to be served.
Well, as far as Lena's bank, Citibank emailed me today and said that they are investigating the matter.
Give her freaking money back. You don't want this woman digging into what Citibank is doing, because she gets answers and she gets results.
Well, as far as Lena's bank, Citibank emailed me today and said that they are investigating the matter. Lena says almost $2,000 was debited from her account. As of tonight, that money has not been returned yet, but she certainly got their attention, Christine and Alex.
And now that this story has been broadcast on the local news, the company with horrible customer service is going to realize the error of their ways because they don't want to get put on blast on social media. So if you happen to find that you are getting an emotional reaction from this story, you could put said company on blast on social media until they do the right thing and give this woman her money back. Otherwise, she's going to Chase. And if you want to email us, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. There are a ton of emails that came in during the phone calls we took for 2 hours on the migrant topic. I still have to go through all those, but please send us an email about anything and everything you hear about on this show. And I have put out this call, and I'll continue to fulfill it. If you have any drops that you enjoy from the show, just email me and ask them, and I'll give them to you. Make you an MP3. Someone emailed us yesterday, Christine. She wanted a trio. She wanted the cashier.
If the cashier is dummy.
She wanted West Hollywood guy.
Ooh, this doesn't look too good.
And she also wanted Janice Hahn.
That's your final warning.
But whatever you like. You like the two ladies from Reseda?
I know.
You like Cecily?
5 weeks!
Whatever you want. If you like a drop and you want to have it to keep to yourself and play over and over again, you can email us at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com, because why not? And then, to pay us back, you can, download the podcast. People love downloading podcasts. I love downloading podcasts. I download podcasts of this show, and I work on it. So go to KABC.com, click on podcasts. Go to the Apple Podcast app, iHeart, Spotify, search for The John Phillips Show. You can subscribe there. You could search for The John Phillips Show on YouTube. They show up. It's funny nowadays because the way I title them, sometimes they show up in my search results when I search for Karen Bass or Hugo Soto Martinez.
Yeah, clap that up.
But, give the podcast a download because, that stuff matters to the people upstairs. Anyway, we want to thank you for listening to the show, for telling your friends about it, sharing it with your family, calling in, emailing. And the only way we know how to thank you is with some Vegas, baby. That's right. 790 KABC welcomes Awakening at the Wynn Las Vegas. The thrilling spectacle at Wynn Las Vegas dazzles audiences with soaring aerialists, bounding acrobats, high-energy choreography, and comedic moments. It's a mythic adventure that unfolds set amid the most technologically immersive theater ever designed. Tickets are on sale now at awakening.com, but right now, caller number 9 at 1-888-790-5222. That's 1-888-790-5222 wins an Awakening getaway, including a 2-night stay at the Wynn Las Vegas and 2 tickets to see Awakening. This all provided by Wynn Las Vegas. Good luck dialing. If you want to email us, you can do so at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. It is currently day 120-something of the WGA strike with the AMPTP, and it's day 40-something of the SAG-AFTRA strike with the AMPTP, with no resolution anytime soon for either strike. They're not even at the negotiating table. 2 weeks ago, the WGA was back at the negotiating table, but that broke down, and then the producers thought it would be a great idea to publicly release the details of their crappy deal. That didn't go so well. In fact, the producers are spiraling right now. I'm sure you've seen they hired a crisis management firm, you know, like Olivia Pope and Scandal, a show written by WGA writers and performed by SAG-AFTRA actors, to really help their image, because they're not looking too good. They all look like the greedy misers that we believe they are, because I see how much I pay every single month for all the streaming services because I want all the content at my fingertips. And you're telling me with the $12 a month I give Paramount, the $12 a month I give Hulu, the $12 a month I give Disney Plus, the $12 a month I give Peacock, the $18 a month I give to Netflix, the $18 a month I give to YouTube, the Amazon Prime, well, that one, you know, who's not going to have Amazon Prime, and the $15 a month I pay to HBO Max or whatever the hell they're calling that now. With all that money, you can't give the actors and the writers a fair deal and give them some common sense protections against this nonsense about artificial intelligence? It's a little crazy to me. But apparently now, when it comes to the strike, the producers who have been standing in solidarity with each other for not wanting to give a deal and bleed out the people that don't make that much money, well, they're starting to have a little infighting and might believe that this wasn't the best course of action, because they're going to run out of content to put on those streaming services real soon. And when that happens, you're going to see cancellation after cancellation after cancellation, and those stock prices are going to crater. For more, here's KTLA. Nope, KCAL. Excuse me. My eyes deceive me.
Moving on now, have the Hollywood strikes turned into a clash of the Hollywood Titans? New reporting tonight.
I mean, it's a pun, but I'll let you have it.
Hollywood strikes turned into a clash of the Hollywood Titans. New reporting tonight claims studio executives are at odds over the handling of the writers and actors strike. KCAL News reporter Tom Waite is here now with the very latest for us, Tom.
And so many dynamics at play, right, Juan?
Yep.
Very complicated situation. Day 121 of the writers' strike, day 48 for the actors. On the other side, studio executives, where tensions are reportedly rising.
I have a hard time feeling bad for the studio executives who spent the last 3 years building up these streaming services, getting a ton of capital, and then getting so large they gobble each other up. Like how it's now Warner Brothers Discovery.
The Venice Film Festival opened Wednesday night. Festival director Alberto Barbera and Italian actress Caterina Marino taking the first stroll down the red carpet, missing Hollywood's biggest stars on strike, banned from promoting their work at one of the world's most important film festivals. Instead, actors and writers remain on the picket lines.
And you noticed it's real interesting because you're banned from promoting any, TV work or movie work. You're seeing the morning shows and the daytime talk shows, because the late night shows, they're not on the air. They have WGA writers. But the morning shows that are news shows, but they have all this entertainment content, they got to get real creative. So they can get a celebrity on if they're there to talk about a live theater performance they're doing. That's okay. Or a stand-up comedy. or if they're in a band, or if they're hosting a podcast. That they can promote. But the TV show that the streaming service is banking on can't promote that. And the producers are letting this go on and on and on and on and on.
Instead, actors and writers remain on the picket lines.
I guess full disclosure, I'm a member of SAG-AFTRA, but I'm a different contract. And so I'm not on strike, obviously. Although, funnily enough, the contract SAG-AFTRA has with this station hasn't been renewed since 2003.
Hey, what's up, guys? Cedric the Entertainer. This has been going longer than what anybody expected, but we are in full solidarity.
While the actors and writers say they're remaining unified, there are reportedly tensions among the studio heads. Deadline reports studio CEOs met Wednesday amid internal tensions.
They are clearly not always on the same page about how to deal with this. I think you're looking at some separations between the legacy media companies and the newer the tech media companies.
I don't really understand how all this works. Why do the producers all have to band together like this? You would think one or two of them would take the advantage and say, you know what? We have the means of distribution. You know, take Apple, for instance, whose business model results in us buying these phones. The TV thing is just a fun little project for them, although they do have some fantastic shows on Apple TV Plus. Really enjoy that after party. Everyone knows about Ted Lasso. They got some good stuff on there. But Apple doesn't need the AMPTP. You've got your Apple TV Plus. Everyone's got an iPhone. Say screw them and make your own deal like the independent studios are doing.
I think you're looking at some separations between the legacy media companies and the newer the tech media companies. I think also there's just different approaches to how to deal with this.
Deadline senior editor Dominic Patton says the CEOs are struggling with the PR fallout from the strikes.
You mean because they all look like Mr. Burns at this point? And in fact, there are Simpson writers on the picket line who keep drawing Mr. Burns on their picket signs with quotes that Mr. Burns would say if he owned one of these entertainment companies.
We reported today they're shocked and stunned that the way they've been vilified, the way that their approach has been rejected. They just don't understand. They look at themselves as the nice guys.
You know, and some of the things that the studios have done in recent years, it's really questionable. Take, for instance, a story I just heard about Disney Plus, where they had greenlit, produced, filmed, edited, ready to release a brand new science fiction series based on the work of Jules Verne. I believe it's called Nautilus. It's, like the book he wrote after 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. It was written. It was acted. It was directed. It was fully produced, ready to release. And at the last second, they scrapped the entire project, not because it was bad, not because of any lack of quality. There's plenty of crappy things on these streaming services. No, because Disney wanted the tax incentive for calling it a loss. You've seen so many different companies like Max delete shows off their catalog where you can't even watch Westworld anymore because they would rather not have it on their books and not pay the residuals to everyone that worked on that show that made them a whole bunch of money for a few years. Those kind of practices are a little messed up.
And suddenly
I understand why these people are on strike.
And suddenly you see the writers, and they have a lot of very valid points about the amount of money they're making, how the AMPTP didn't really reach out to the writers until the 101st day of what is now a 121-day strike to start talking again.
As the strikes drag on, the financial stress continues to take its toll. To help ease the burden, network late-night hosts are launching a limited series podcast with the proceeds going to their staff members.
One more time, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Jimmy Fallon.
I'm Stephen Colbert.
I'm Jimmy Kimmel. I thought when you said Jimmy, you meant me, Jimmy, but you meant Jimmy.
Let me tell you, I listened to this thing yesterday because I was very curious, and I find it bizarrely surreal that, I've been doing radio for 17 years, but I also hosted a podcast for 10 years, back when, not everyone had a podcast. And so to hear that, some of the late night hosts that I grew up watching were all going to put themselves together on a podcast, I had to listen. The first half is rough, but they do find their footing. But I would just say from any kind of a design standpoint and how radio works and how conversations work, you never want to do a 5-person show. But I like the idea. Let's keep going.
I always mean you.
It's the 5 of us together for maybe an hour a day.
Strike Force 5 is the name of our podcast. Subscribe to it now.
And, of course, Kimmel's the main host because Kimmel has a radio background. In case you weren't aware, Jimmy Kimmel, before he got into TV, got his start on Kevin and Bean as Jimmy the sports guy, which I always thought was pretty cool because I'm the only sports guy left in L.A.
Well, the reality of the strike, unfortunately.
I mean, there are sports stations, but I'm the only guy that's doing sports reports on a non-sports station.
Well, the reality of the strike, unfortunately, is brutal for actors and writers. The Entertainment Community Fund, formerly known as the Actors Fund, has given out $5.5 million as of August 25th.
And I love the idea, although, again, hopefully they'll find their footing with the Strike Force 5 podcast. I do love the idea that, the whole thing is to support the staffs because you got to remember, you've got the writers on strike, you got SAG-AFTRA on strike, but while these shows are shut down, all of the other people that work on that staff, the editors, the bookers, the producers, the line producers, everyone's out of work. There are so many different industries that are touched by this, and the fact that we cannot come to a deal, it's getting really infuriating. I mean, what are the studios waiting for? For them to run out of content that they've already had put on the shelf? Because that's going to happen. And I don't know if I can continue to support all of these streaming services that I pay for, even the ones I don't even watch, like Paramount Plus.
Electric bills and other necessities. And SAG-AFTRA has raised $15 million to help strikers pay their bills. Mm-hmm. It's been rough, no doubt, right?
I mean, it has been extra irritating because I swear, just in the last 2 months, I've gotten 2 emails from some of these services saying, we're raising your prices. Is that okay? If you're raising my prices, go make a fair deal with the actors and the writers. Because I'm telling you right now, you will lose this battle in ways you haven't even thought of. People's attention moves to other places. Happened in 2008 with that big strike. Yes, obviously, the biggest form of entertainment out there is movies and TV and streaming, but you're going to lose people to things you never even thought of. Millions and millions and millions of young people, they don't watch any of this stuff. They watch TikTok. There are people that watch people play video games on Twitch. There are people that play video games 10 hours a day. You're going to lose market share. People, obviously, so many people are tuning to podcasts. They're even coming back to talk radio. Well, they never left talk radio. You have 100 million Americans every day who listen to the radio. People's attention will go to other places. So I think it's time to at least get back to the negotiating table. That would be a sign of good faith, at least in my eyes. Ever since earlier this year in April, I spent a week on Maui with my wife. I follow so many different bars and restaurants and tour groups and like trilogy cruises and so many things just so I can get a little taste of the most magical vacation I've ever been to. And when the tragedy struck and Lahaina burned down, I would see the updates from the ground of all these organizations and people, and it's absolutely heartbreaking. I mean, I had one of the best dinners of my life at the Lahaina Grill less than 6 months ago. And to see everything that's going on there, it is heartbreaking. But to see how all these companies that I follow are rebuilding, like, the best Mai Tai I had was at Monkey Pod, which is owned by Merriman's, which is a big chain out there. And Merriman's has been feeding people on West Maui for free every single day since the tragedy struck. And that is a beautiful thing. And I'm sure you have heard over the last few days, and it's absolutely true, while West Maui is still dealing with the devastation, and obviously Lahaina is closed, and a lot of West Maui, including Napili, where I stayed in April, it's not a good time to go there, but there's still a whole other part of the island that is definitely worth a visit right now. I know that there's a lot of occupancy. There's a lot of vacancies. Flights are dirt cheap right now, and they're hurting. I mean, people are starting to go on unemployment because there's no work, because the entire island is thriving on tourism. That's how they make their money. So I'm just going to tell you wholeheartedly, one of the best vacations I've ever been to. Best food, best drinks. I mean, you'll never have a better Mai Tai than some of the places I went to. Best fresh fish, the sushis, Paia Fish Market, Macadang Dang. Oh, boy, there were so many incredible restaurants that we went to. And the beaches are beautiful. I mean, it is absolute paradise there. So while one part of the island is hurting, if you've got the vacation time and, you're looking to go somewhere, I mean, do your part. Go help out the people of Maui by staying there and having that experience. It is one of our national treasures. And I've been to Hawaii before. I had been to the Big Island, and I love the Big Island, but there was nothing like the experience on Maui. Doing the road to Hana, we didn't do the volcano, but next time we go, we're definitely going to do the Haleakala sunrise, and we're already trying to figure out when we can get back there because we want to support the people. They're incredible people there. They work their asses off, and they make great food, great drinks, and will give you a vacation of a lifetime. Anyway, not an endorsement or anything, but every time I see one of these things, I'm like, boy, I got to get out there. And what really has me bummed out right now is that Monkey Pod keeps putting out that, like, if you go to any of the Monkey Pods on any of the Hawaiian Islands tomorrow, September 1st, $1 of every Mai Tai goes towards helping the victims. Do you know how much help I could do? I could drink a lot of those Mai Tais. They're made with Lilikoi foam. I don't even know how to do that. It's so good. Anyway, heart's always going out to Maui. Maybe we'll figure out some kind of fundraiser or something, or maybe we get the show out there because I love Maui. I know Johnny loves Maui, and if you haven't been, it's always a good time to go. Anyway, that'll do it for today. We'll see you tomorrow for Jimmy Buffett Friday, and then we all have a fantastic long Labor Day weekend to look forward to. Johnny and I will be back together on Tuesday. So we'll see you tomorrow, noon to 3, right here on Talk Radio 790 KABC.